The message has been sent. Oh, I'm actually live. So that again goes there. We'll see if this automatically kind of sort of maybe updates and goes, hey, oh my gosh. Yep, it's a live broadcast. Hi. Just double checking. Da 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 da. And as soon as, yay! All right. Hello, peeps. I'm Zach Ricks, managing editor of Flagship and co-founder of Flying Island Press, available at flyingislandpress.com. Oh my gosh, what are we up to now? Issue 4 of Flagship is available there right now. 6 science fiction and fantasy short stories for $1.99 EPUB, $1.99 audio, or if you're one of those people who likes the deluxe package, $2.99 for both. It's an extra dollar, and you get the whole thing all over again in the format of your choice. MP3, AAC, EPUB, Mobi, PDF. Trust me, you're going to find a way to read this. If you can find a way to buy it. If you can buy it, you've got a computer. You can, never mind. Anyway, getting off the Cherry Coke Zero. Anyway, it's not quite 8 in the morning. I've got a bit of a sinus thing going on, if you couldn't tell. I'm thinking it's allergies. Hoping it doesn't, like, become full-on, I don't know, sinus infection and crap. I'm moving my in-laws in today. It's a busy day. I've got in-laws that I'm moving in here in a couple hours. I've got a function for this community group that I'm involved with later on this afternoon. And I just feel like, and you've probably felt this way, I feel like I'm not in control of my schedule. I'm not in control of my time. I've got so much work to do during the week and a family to take care of, and got to be involved in the community, and I've got a business that I'm running on top of my regular job, and a lot of slush reading to do, and responding to authors, and just thinking how can we make the business work better. And then I've got my own writing that I'm trying to do. I just finished the first draft of an 8,000 word, I guess that's a novelette according to SIFWA. That is a little bit outside of everything that I've ever written before, because it's kind of a love story. And the love story part of it isn't very good. I'm honest enough with myself to admit that. But the concepts behind it are, I think, fairly rock solid. But it's the I don't know how to write a love story thing yet. So I gave it a shot, and I'm going to go back and I'm going to see what I can do to fix it, and I'm going to see what I can learn to be able to write those kinds of plots in the future. John Mieru, gosh, I'm probably slaughtering his last name. John is doing a thing called Podcast Teardown. And if you Google Podcast Teardown, you should really go out and you should listen to it. He's talking to podcast authors and asking them, what do you do? What's your process? How do you do this? How do you do that? Fantastic series. He's talked to Brand Gamblin. He's talked to J.D. Sawyer. He's talked to Nathan Lowell and Patrick E. McLean. And just, some people that I really admire in the space. Jake Bible, if I haven't mentioned Jake Bible yet. And it's interesting to hear all the different tools that people use. I think that I get caught up in, and maybe some other people get caught up in, tools. What's your writing process? What do you use? It's almost like the where do you get your ideas question. And I'm just going to run through it really quick. This is my weapon of choice. It's an Apple wireless keyboard. Connects to a Mac Mini that I've got sitting right over here, or it connects to the iPhone 4 that I'm recording this on. On my Mac, I'm writing on Scrivener. On my iPhone, I'm writing on SimpleNote. Or occasionally, I will pull out this bad boy. This is a Google Chrome laptop, one of the CR48s, I guess, which also connects to SimpleNote. SimpleNote syncs up with Scrivener, and magically import stuff that you're writing in other locations into your file. A simple note lives on the web. The wireless keyboard connects to my wireless phone, which broadcasts things wirelessly to Simple Note, and then magically we use a wireless network here in the house to download those notes onto Scrivener. And then in Scrivener you can play with them and kind of move them around and do all kinds of nifty stuff with them. I'm thinking a lot lately about writing and making sure that you get it done, and thinking a little bit about escape velocity and how it's not a question of how fast are you going. It's a question of how much acceleration are you putting into it. If you have acceleration over time, then eventually you'll get to escape velocity. Eventually you'll get off the ground. Eventually you'll be fast enough, good enough, whatever enough to get where you're trying to go. The problem is you've got to be putting in more effort than the world is putting in to drag you down. It doesn't have to be a lot more. It just has to be a little bit more, and it has to be applied over time. And the reason I guess I'm talking about this is because I've been struggling lately with my own writing and just trying to figure out how to make everything work. And am I using the right tools? If I had the right thing, would that thing allow me to write better? And, lately that's been kind of this debate going on in my head about the iPad 2. If I had an iPad 2, would it make me write better? And the answer to that is no. Of course not. It's just a tool. Actually, as I was getting ready to record this morning, reminded me of my second Mad Poet File story, No More Kings. And in the story, it's a story about this barbarian guy who basically was rejected as an apprentice in the magic school, and he goes out and he gets himself an army, and he gets himself some magic armor, and he goes out and he starts killing everybody in the he starts killing all the sorcerer kings, that kind of run the academy, and there's 7 of them, and he kind of goes through and he slaughters all of them, and he gets to the last one. And the last one beats him because the last one realizes something that none of the others did. It's not about this. Magic doesn't come from here. Magic doesn't come from here. Magic doesn't come from tools. It doesn't come from my iPhone 4, magical as it may be. And it won't come from an iPad, even though Apple claims the iPad is a magical device. Magic comes from here. Magic comes from here. Magic comes from here. Magic comes from putting in your time and doing the work. Magic comes from being willing to, as Merlin Mann says, sit down and make the clackety-clack sound at your keyboard, even though you may not feel inspired, even though you may not feel that you've got your muse or whatever there with you. Inspiration comes as you're doing the work. So the first thing to do is do the work. If it's ditch digging, if it's bricklaying, if it's writing, if it's podcasting, if it's putting together a magazine, if it's lawyer work, the first thing you've got to do is you've got to actually sit down and do the work. You've got to prepare for it. You've got to make sure that you are making the time for it. In my case, that may mean getting up an hour earlier than everybody else in the house, because otherwise I'm not going to have control of my time after a certain point. But that's what it's going to take. It's going to take you finding the place, the space, the energy to do your work. It doesn't matter what that work is. It could be marketing. It could be web page design. It could be writing. It could be, it could be farming. I've had plenty of inspiring thoughts on a tractor on a farm. I've screwed up there. I've learned a lot of life lessons, but, inspiration comes while you're doing the work, so do the work. And that's it. That's all I really had to say today. You can check out, I've got a new short story that I co-wrote with Scott Roche, The Battle of Wildspitze, I think, that should be going up on my website and on Scott's website sometime over the weekend. It's available at Smashwords right now. It's like $1.49, which is, it's 10,000 words. It's kind of a historical, it's an alternate history in which magic works set in the days just prior to World War I. So you've got, blimps, lots of big blimps, dragons, other magical creatures, magicians, and, big old battle with dragon riding pirates, fighting a blimp, carrying a whole bunch of magicians. You know, I like it. I like the swashbuckling adventure kinds of things. And I came back around and wrote a sequel for my character that I created in that Norris Tilney. I'd really appreciate it if you checked it out. Check it out at Smashwords. There's a preview available now. When it goes up for sale on Mad Poet Files, I'll make sure that there's a preview there as well, with a natural break, because the Smashwords one seems to cut off just a little bit before I would. And, yeah. In the meantime, hey, there's work to be done. Talk to you guys later.